My name is David Miller, and I'm 91 years old. And today, I want to share something many men over 50 should hear. The biggest mistake men make after 50 is never learning how to live comfortably on their own. It sounds simple, but most men only realize it when life is already changed. When we were younger, life was loud. Work, family, responsibilities, friends, noise everywhere. In the morning, we rushed out the door for work, barely finishing our coffee before the day started. At the office, there were people everywhere. Conversations, phones ringing, meetings one after another. Then in the evening, we came home, and the house was alive again. Kids running through the hallway, doors opening and closing, someone asking what's for dinner, someone else looking for their shoes. Sometimes the television was on, sometimes music was playing, sometimes everybody was talking at the same time. Back then, silence almost never existed. And on weekends, life didn't slow down much either. We met friends, had a few beers, sat around talking about work, sports, politics, or just old stories we had already told 100 times. We laughed, we argued, we stayed up too late. And somehow, the house was always full. Full of voices, full of movement, full of life. Because when you're living inside all that noise, you never stop to think about something very simple. That one day, the noise might fade. Life changes slowly, so slowly, most people don't notice it happening. Children grow up almost without asking permission. One day they're running around the house, the next day they're packing boxes and moving into their own place. They start their own lives, their own families, their own routines. Friends become busier. Some move away to different cities. Some move away for work. And some simply aren't here anymore. And little by little, without anyone announcing it, the circle around you becomes smaller. Then one morning, you wake up and something feels different. You walk through the house and the rooms feel bigger than they used to. The hallway sounds quieter. The kitchen feels empty. And suddenly you notice something you never paid attention to before. The silence. And strangely enough, that silence feels louder than you expected. Many men don't know what to do with that kind of quiet. They walk around the house, not really sure why. Open the fridge, close it again. Turn the television on, then turn it off 5 minutes later. Sit down, stand up, sit down again. Not because they have something to do, but because deep down, being alone with their own thoughts feels unfamiliar and sometimes a little uncomfortable. I had a friend I worked with many years ago. Back then, he was always busy. Meetings, deadlines, clients, projects. Every day was full. But after he retired, he told me something I never forgot. He said, "David, I suddenly don't know what to do with my whole day anymore." I laughed when he said it, but deep down I knew exactly what he meant. You see, most men grow up believing one simple thing. If you work hard, provide for your family, and do your job well, then you've done your duty. That's the rule many of us grew up with, and for a long time, that belief carries us through life. You wake up early, go to work, come home tired, do it all again the next day. Years pass like that, and during those years, you rarely stop to ask a different question. What happens when the race finally slows down. Because the truth is, nobody really teaches men how to live when life becomes quiet. We are taught how to work. We are taught how to provide. But very few of us are taught how to simply exist with ourselves. For a long time, I didn't know how to do that either. In fact, I hated silence. If the house was too quiet, I would turn on the television, not because I wanted to watch anything in particular. I just wanted to hear voices. Sometimes, I would even turn the TV on and walk outside into the yard just so I could hear the sound of people talking from inside the house. Looking back now, it sounds a little silly, but it also reveals something important. I wasn't really afraid of being alone. I was afraid of silence. Silence has a strange way of making you face your own thoughts, and when you're not used to that, it can feel uncomfortable. But when you live long enough, something begins to change. Your perspective slowly shifts. Eventually, I realized something important. The real problem isn't living alone. The real problem is that most of us never learned how to enjoy our own company. Take today, for example. I'm sitting here in the yard, building this wooden chair. It's nothing special, just a simple wooden chair. But I enjoy doing things like this, measuring the wood, cutting the pieces, sanding them smooth, putting everything together slowly. And when you work with your hands like this, something interesting happens. Your mind begins to slow down. Your breathing becomes steady. And suddenly the world doesn't feel so rushed anymore. Years ago, if someone had told me I would spend an entire afternoon sitting alone in the yard building a chair, I probably would have thought they were wasting time. But now, afternoons like this feel like a gift. There's a breeze moving gently through the trees, birds singing somewhere in the distance, the smell of fresh wood drifting through the air. Nothing extraordinary, nothing exciting, and yet somehow it feels peaceful. And that's something many men over 50 slowly begin to understand. You don't actually need a busy life to feel alive. You need a meaningful one. And sometimes meaning is found in the quietest moments. A book, a garden, a small project with your hands, or simply sitting under a tree with a cup of coffee, watching the afternoon pass by. Those quiet moments can teach you something most men spend their whole lives chasing: peace.
This chair took me most of the afternoon to finish. It's not the prettiest chair, but it's solid, and I built it with my own hands. Now I can set it under that tree, have a cup of coffee, and read a few pages. Nothing fancy, but that's enough for me. At 91, I think I've earned a quiet afternoon like that.